Hi there, I'm Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts, and today I want to teach you how to do the front loop herringbone half double crochet. You can use any yarn with this stitch, but today I have a 4-weight acrylic and I'm using an H 5-point millimeter hook. I'll just start by making a slip knot, and I will just work with a stitch like this. If you can use any number as a pattern repeat. So let's just make 12 chains. And that ought to give us a good enough size to sample. 11, 12. Okay, so we'll just do a little sample here. Now in the third chain from the hook is where we'll make our first stitch. And I'm just working under the top loop. I'll yarn over, pull through, and pull through the first loop. And then I'll yarn over and pull through 2. Let's try that again. Yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull the loop through, and continue pulling through that first loop that was on the hook. And then yarn over and pull through 2. Now before we go further, if you're a beginner or if you ever have trouble keeping the sides of your blanket straight, I'm going to encourage you to go ahead, just grab a safety pin and mark that very first stitch that we made. Go ahead and insert your safety pin underneath the top 2 loops. We're marking that first stitch. So we had our 2 chains that we skipped over, and then our stitch. I'm marking the stitch. Now let's continue working our herringbone half double crochet down the row. Here we are at the end of the row, and we'll chain 1 and turn, or sometimes patterns tell you to chain 2 and turn. It's up to you, personal preference. I would say if you're using much smaller weight yarn, you probably would want to chain 2. If you've got really big chunky yarn, probably chain 1 is fine. And then we will work just into the first stitch of the row into the front loop. So we yarn over, and we kind of have to insert our hook up and under the loop that is facing us. Then yarn over, pull through that first stitch, then pull through 2. Now is a good time to take a break and get your other safety pin and mark that stitch that we just made, because then we will know that that's the last stitch of the row. And this really helps to keep your blanket, the sides of your blanket straight, and it will save you from having to count all the stitches across the row. You'll just know when what that last stitch is. Okay, so I'm working up and under the, so if you look at it at the V's, I'm working just under this loop, the loop that faces me. It's called the front loop. And that's the stitch. Now when I get to the marker, I'll take the marker out, work the stitch, chain and turn, work the first stitch, and then replace the marker. So here we go. Almost there. So here's my last stitch. Let's just take out that safety pin. And of course, if you have, another way of marking, use it. I've heard of earrings, or you can buy special stitch markers, but a good old safety pin is good too. So there's my last stitch of the row. I will chain 1. I'm going to turn, work the stitch up to the front loop, take the time to mark that stitch, get it in there. I kind of like safety pins because they don't come undone. And you won't risk having your marker come undone. Or if you find a stitch marker, make sure it's one that closes. Okay, you're on your way. You've got it. That is the front loop herringbone half double crochet. And you'll be able to keep your side straight by using just this little tip right there. All right, thanks for coming by.